File types. This section covers the file types of files carriers use to send their records and how to open them in Excel. The typical file types the phone companies use are as follows. xlsx, which is Microsoft Excel 2007 and later. XLS, which is Microsoft Excel 97 to 2003. CSV, which is comma-separated values. TXT, which is plain text. And PDF, which is portable document format. In this image, the top file is an xlsx from Sprint. Next is an XLS file from T-Mobile. Next is a CSV file from Verizon. Then a PDF from AT&T and a text file from AT&T. The carriers provide the records in multiple different file types, but we want to convert them all to be used in the most recent version of Excel, which is xlsx. xlsx. This is the current Excel format, and to get the most out of our analysis and the most functionality in Excel, we want the records in the most recent Excel workbook format, which is xlsx. When the records come in xlsx, we can make a working copy and get started. XLS. XLS is the Excel 97 file type and is for Microsoft Excel versions 97 through 2003. This file type will open in more recent versions of Excel in compatibility mode with limited functionality. In compatibility mode, Excel limits the number of rows and columns that it will parse. Phone records typically contain many more rows and columns than Excel will parse in XLS files. Sprint and T-Mobile typically send their files in XLS format. Notice compatibility mode at the top of these T-Mobile records. When the records come in XLS format, click File and Save As, and then save the file in your naming scheme for working copies. I name my working copies with the case number, phone number, and CDR. Here's an example of my naming scheme. The case number, phone number, and CDR. Once we rename the file as an Excel workbook, xlsx, it remains in compatibility mode. The file must be closed and reopened to have full compatibility. Notice compatibility mode is gone after the file is reopened. CSV. Comma-separated values files, or CSV files, are in generic table structure format. If we open these files in a text editor, we will see a comma separates each of the cell data. These files may or may not automatically open in Excel. Verizon regularly provides records in .csv format. When looking at the file in File Explorer, if the Excel icon appears to the left of the file, it will open in Excel when double-clicked. If the Excel icon doesn't appear, then right-click and Open With, and then choose Excel. Right-click on the file, choose Open With, and then Excel. Here's a live demonstration. Move the cursor over the CSV, right-click, Open With, and left-click on Excel. This is a set of Verizon records in CSV format opened in Excel. You'll notice that some of the information is not legible and all the column widths are the same. In a later module, we'll learn how to resize the columns so we can have access to all the data. Once the file is opened in Excel, save it as an Excel workbook. Rename using your naming convention, such as case number, phone number, and CDR. .txt. Text files are generic files containing plain text. AT&T provides records in this format. Text files open in WordPad by default. Notice the WordPad icon next to the file in Windows Explorer. Here's an example of some AT&T records in text format opened in WordPad. We can open the same file in Excel by right-clicking on the file in Windows Explorer and selecting Open With. Right-click on the file, select Open With, and Excel. If we double-click on the text file, it will open in Notepad or WordPad. In this case, it opened in Notepad. Just like with the CSV, we can move the cursor over the text file, right-click, Open With, and left-click on Excel. This is an example of the same AT&T records opened in Excel. You'll notice that the data does not align correctly with the columns. We'll cover how to correct that later. Save the file as an Excel workbook and rename with your naming convention. PDF. Portable document format files open in Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader by default. AT&T provides records in this format. This is an example of some AT&T PDF records opened in Adobe Reader. We can't open the PDF files in Excel, but we could export them with a full version of Acrobat or paid subscription to Acrobat Reader DC. Even so, the records will usually require additional manual formatting for the columns to line up properly in Excel. The text and PDF files AT&T provides contain the same data, just in different formats. Unless specifically requested, AT&T will provide only PDF files. The text files are much easier to convert to Excel workbooks, so it is particularly important to include instructions to provide the records in text format either in the warrant or in the notes on the fax cover letter.